had so much fun last week with the idea of imagination, and we had so many ideas that we just didn't get to, that we thought, well, let's do imagination again, because we have good imaginations. And so our talk today is imagination and intuition.
And we found a lot of quotes that sparked that imagination too, so that really helped. Thomas Troward says, very closely allied to the intuition is the faculty of imagination. This does not mean mere fancies, which we dismiss without further consideration, but our power of forming mental images upon which we dwell. The power of forming mental images upon which we dwell. He's saying that the power is the action of divine law, taking over to bring life-changing conditions into manifestation. So he's saying that our imagination actually creates the very foundation of our life experiences. Gary Zukoff agrees with him. He says, what is behind our eyes holds more power than what is in front of them. And of course, Emerson also agrees. He says, what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. There's a plaque out there that you can remind yourself of that every week when you come. Our imagination is the foundation of our beliefs, and the intuitive power we feel flowing through us is a result of imaginative, creative thoughts that lie or live within us. We've heard the phrase, be careful what you think, you might get it. In Science of Mind we say, be careful what you think, because it will manifest. And unfortunately, the law doesn't really care if your thoughts are life-affirming or self-degrading. The law responds according to the nature of our predominant thoughts. What we think about, we bring about. So it's not really God's fault or the law's fault if what we receive in our experience is not exactly what we were planning for. It has to do with what we've been thinking about. And so it's not a fault of the divine, it's simply a consequence of our stinking thinking, or it could be a consequence of our positive thinking. One way or the other, we receive what we think about. Therefore, you are a co-creator with the divine. You are an equal part in the equation. In terms of magnitude, your personal identity, are not equal to the allness of all that God is, but in relation to your individualized essence, your personal identity, or your personalized identity, God is all you are. Because God is equally present in all that is, including every single little piece of you. So you are an equal partner in determining the conditions of your own life. If every part of you is a God part, and God cannot overpower itself, or the whole concept of infinity would collapse, you are an equal partner in all your personal identity being, all that it encompasses. So, what do you want to experience? Whatever thoughts you're holding right now will show up sooner or later, because you are in full partnership with the ultimate power of the universe. And you will reap the benefits or the trials according to your thoughts. Alan Alda says, and right off the bat I think you never really thought of Alan Alda as a Science of Mind kind of guy. But listen to this quote. He says, the creative is the place where no one else has ever been. You have to leave the city of your comfort and go into the wilderness of your intuition. What you'll discover will be wonderful. What you'll discover is yourself. Isn't that a beautiful saying? The intuitive area of creativity is often hidden within your unconscious beliefs. They're somewhere deep within us. Your intuition and your beliefs and your imagination are all within us, and they all work together. Now here's a great quote, one where Deborah and I read it and said, oh yeah, we gotta talk about that, but maybe we'll need to take a month to break it all down. Because once again, it's from Thomas Troward. He says, and I'm gonna try to take it easy on you and slow down a little bit. The relation of the intuition to the imagination is that the intuition grasps an idea from the great universal mind in which all things exist as potentials, and presents it to the imagination in its essence rather than in a definite form. And then our image building faculty gives it a clear and definite form which it presents before the mental vision, in which we then vivify, give truth or reality to by letting our thought dwell upon it, thus infusing our own personality into it. Oh no, that's a lot. Thank you.
One cup.
That should help. Yes, it did. What I thought fascinating about that was, we know that we have the realm of infinite possibility, and we choose from those infinite possibilities. We grab one that we want to experience in our lives, and then we let it become manifest. We collapse possibility waves into our reality. And so I thought, what if more than one person were to attach one of the infinite realm of possibilities, one possibility out of the infinite realm? What if 1,000 people did? What if 1,000,000 people did? Then we would all get exactly the same thing? No, what happens is the intuition takes that one possibility and presents it to our imagination. Our imagination creates a mental vision of that, and then we infuse our personality into that, so that it's very likely that if there are an infinite number of people attaching to that one single possibility, we could have an infinite number of possibilities on that one possibility manifesting in our lives. Isn't that fascinating? He's also basically referring to how our perceptions are dealt with as we perceive stimuli from our environment, by infusing our personal identity upon everything that we experience. Our sensory receptors, our 5 senses, can intake about 1 billion bits of data per second. 1 billion bits of data per second. That's a lot. That's a lot. Think about it. Or actually you can't, because our conscious thought and our conscious awareness can only handle 10 to 50 bits per second. That's still a lot. That means that 99.999% of perceived or received information from our senses is deleted every second. The full capacity is filtered through our memory data banks, and only that which we believe to be real or consider valid is passed on into our conscious awareness. So we are deciding every second what within our environment is real to us. Possibly even more amazing is the fact that of the 99.999% that vanishes or is deleted by our memory banks, our mental faculties fill in the blanks based on beliefs and past data in our memory files. So we don't necessarily receive into conscious awareness so much what is there as what we believe is there and what we are able to accept is there. So it could be said that our perceptions are receptions, because we perceive what we choose to receive. Does that make sense? Of all the billions of possibilities of things we could see, we only choose a very small quantity of that. The choosing may not be a conscious level, but remember that 90% of our thoughts are unconscious. That means that what we believe beneath the level of conscious awareness is more influential in our reality than what we see and experience to be real in our waking awareness. It also means that what we imagine to be true is more powerful than what we actually see and experience as true. So let's combine these two basic concepts I just talked about. One, we only accept into our awareness what we believe. I think that's easy to understand. And two, our beliefs outweigh our physical receptors. You combine those two things, you'll begin to see that the importance of an active imagination and development of both unconscious awareness, developing our belief systems, and then by proxy, developing our conscious awareness, what we wish to experience in our lives. Henry David Thoreau says, "Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you have imagined." And he also says, "The world is but a canvas to the imagination." We paint a picture of that which we wish to experience, and then we step into it through intuition and imagination. We intentionally bring our unconscious reality to the surface and choose to the life we wish to experience. So I ask again, what do you want to experience?
Great question, yes. Because we do indeed each want to experience something a little bit different. And that knowledge of how we created is so valuable. It's one of my favorite things about Science of Mind is that not only is it a loving, self-giving teaching, but it's also an intelligence builder. We're already the intelligence that is, but in our human experience of life, we can upgrade that intelligence within ourselves by understanding how our thoughts work and how they're creating in our life. So I started last week with this quote from Holmes: "Prepare your mind to receive the best that life has to offer." And so that is part of the answer to whatever we're individually desiring to make a shift in our life. So let's look at that idea of preparing our mind. Remember that there is no such thing as your mind, my mind, and God mind. There is only one mind. And that is invaluable as we begin to create. And I'm going to share several reasons. There's only one mind, and within that one mind, that one life, we think and we live. Last week I shared this quote from Holmes that I also think is worth repeating: "Things are ideas in form." Things are ideas in form. He asked the question, what else could they be? So that we can really get stimulated with that realization that the thoughts that we have, the ideas that we have, are valuable to what we are creating for tomorrow. He says there is nothing from which to make things except ideas. So taking the ideas that I have just shared, think about this statement: prepare our personal mind within the one universal mind of unlimited ideas to access, accept, and integrate the very best of these ideas into our best living experience. We each have a unique place in life, and we draw to ourselves from that divine, that one mind. If we make ourselves receptive to the idea of love, we become lovable. Now notice that in Signs of Mind, we don't say, make yourself receptive to love and then the love will come to you. No, you make yourself receptive to the idea of love so that you become lovable. And you are, once again, I always feel like I have to qualify this, you are already that love. That is your natural state of being. But somehow in this humanness, at least I'll speak for myself, I sometimes fall a little short of love showing up on the doorstep of some of those friendships that I have, intentionally or not even intentionally. And so we make ourselves receptive to love so that we ourselves become that emanation of love. And therefore we attract that which is loving into our life. And this applies to everything. So if you have an idea in mind right now that you are personally working with, work with it now. Another example is if we make ourselves receptive to the idea of abundant good, we become that abundance. It becomes our experience. And wealth and prosperity and good stuff just seems to show up. Our taking and our receptivity is always a mental process. It is a part of that preparing our mind. Life reveals itself through our mental receptivity and intelligence. And our imagination is one of the most powerful allies we have in creating our life. For if we put a lid on it, and I'm going to say, or a lid on it, because we aren't just this thinking thing up here. All of us is a part of the thinking thing. And if we put a lid on our creative energies, our ideas, we begin to stagnate. And our thoughts follow in that trend. However, if we open ourselves up to ideas that are quote unquote beyond our wildest imagination, behold, it is done unto us as we believe. The one energy of life, or the energy of mind, is a natural state of the universe. And as a center within it, each one of us has access to use it. We are using it, always, whether we realize it or not. Our imagination is creative. Our concentration of thought upon our desire is not in any way our effort to compel an idea. Rather, our concentration upon a desired idea is a method that we utilize for opening a channel, opening the lid, to permit the glorious creative stream of energy to take definite form for us and within us, as us. Therefore, our concentration is a gentle softening of our thought. We can't hold tight to my ideas and expect to have the best life reveal. It doesn't work that way. We merely concentrate our attention of the desired result. The law of mind creates the form. There's a true sense of freedom that flows through us when we are thinking rightly, and our concentration through freedom and faith activates the law. Holmes, paraphrased, said this: there is a vast difference between holding thoughts and holding things in thought. The first is an attempt at an impossible coercion. The second is a mental acceptance. We do not force issues in science of mind, and if we try, we are stifling the creative power and intuitive powers within us. However, by holding in thought or concentrating our attention, we are actually letting something happen. We are letting that desire within us occur. And this is our use of the greatest power of all. So think of this. This is an example from my life. I remember when I was a child, my mom bought those frozen orange juices in concentrate. And I absolutely loved it being my chore to make the orange juice, to get to open that cylindrical frozen juice pack, and then to put that into the pitcher. And then I'd fill the cylindrical box there with hot water, pour it in, and begin to stir, melting that concentrate. And while I was doing this, I can remember feeling a sense of thrilling within me, a thrill at the process that I was creating. I had a sense of power that I could take something right from the freezer and use hot water to create it into something else, that frozen concentrate. And then there was an exhilarating feeling at being able to create a larger idea of the juice, enough so that it would feed the whole family for several days. That was thrilling for me. I told David not nearly as thrilling was dusting and vacuuming. But making that juice gave me a thrill, a sense of power, and a sense of understanding a process. So then I'd add the cold water, and we'd have that abundance of juice to serve. The frozen concentrate held all the essential ingredients. As the concentrate went through the process, the desired results were achieved. So, you want to help me, honey? So while we were at our son's,
Shake it.
oh no, don't shake it. Golden Ridge Groves, they made this juice for us, and you can see how it settles, the concentrate. And this is the same thing.
This is natural, it's not processed.
Yeah.
My favorite.
All natural. And that naturalness is within us. The same thing occurs for us. That concentrated thought means a focused thought. That's what we're doing when we're achieving our desires and our goals. So we energize an idea of our choice. We concentrate, not in a my way, but we concentrate our thought on the idea by keeping the essential ingredients, the God ingredients, the trust, the knowing, the absolute faith, and the picture of the scene, so that it flows gently within our own mind to a point of actually feeling as though it's happened before we realize it in form. We feel it. We know it's already there. We are experiencing it in our body and our mind. And then the law just comes right in and says, yes, it is done unto you as you believe. That's how it works. So take that home and play with it. on whatever it is that's going on in your life today, because indeed that changes with the waves in the ocean, right? And let us end with a few ideas from Holmes about this idea. First, the law follows the word just as the word follows the desire. The imagination is the workshop where everything is created. I am guided by the same intelligence and inspired by the same imagination that scatters the moonbeams across the waves and holds the forces of nature in its grasp. And so it is.